Before we get into the video, if you're looking for top quality sample packs, preset packs and templates for your music production, they're entirely royalty free. You can use them in your own productions and learn from them. If you're interested, check out the link in the description and enjoy the video. What's good people, it's Lewis of bbrights and I am back for a brand new video. Today's video I'm going to be working on part 2 of recreating PS1's fake friends from scratch. In this episode we're going to be working on the build up, adding some snares and some sweeps and some effects, and get the drop drums going and maybe add in the FM bass for the drop. So that's this episode. Before we continue, I'd like to apologise for not uploading for the past week and a half or so. I've been working really hard on my own music. I've got a new synthwave EP coming out in the next few weeks. It's a really good EP, it's my biggest one yet. 10 tracks, so I've been working hard on that. And I've also been working hard on some EDM songs, sending them to labels, trying to get them released. So I've been working hard on my own music. But now I'm back to work on some videos. Got another video coming later this week. Without further ado, let's get into this video and I hope you enjoy. So like always, I'm going to play through what I have so far. There's nothing crazy, just a few elements, what we're doing in part 1. Recreating the chords, adding some small claps and an atmosphere in the high string and some crashes here. So yeah, I'm going to play through to refresh what I've got, then we're going to continue, so here we go. And of course this is where the drop's going to be with the FM bass and the kick drum and all the drums like that. So first I'm going to remove this section of the high string here. What I'm going to do as well is, in the previous episode I used this Keyzone Classic to recreate the chords, but I'm going to use it as a layer of piano and make it more wider and more stereo. So instead of using this Yamaha grand piano, we're going to use this Steinway piano. It's a little more brighter, so we're just going to copy the chords here, make a new pattern. We're going to call these wide piano chords. So we can put a stereo enhancer on this, make them sound wider, and then it will fill out the stereo mix and make the piano sound more full. Just create a new pattern like I just did, just paste these chords in, see what they sound like on this piano. We're going to turn down the release just to make it a little more choppy. We're going to add an OTT just to give it a bit more higher, more depth. So we're going to turn that depth to around 20%, turn the low knob down, and then add a Waves S1 stereo imager. So made it quite wide here. We don't want to make it too wide because we don't want to mess up the stereo field too much. Stereo field can be dangerous because it will make the phase go out of phase and stuff like that, so you want to be careful with that. That's why I turned the gain down as well, just a little bit. And I'm going to put on a small 4-step delay, just a very, very small one. So we're going to set this to 4 ping pong, and then it will sound like this. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to move this parametric EQ2 to the bottom, so we have the OTT first, and then the imaging, and the delay, and then we have the EQ. Then we can do a bit more subtle EQ frequency, so we can boost the highs just a bit more. And do a dip with this 600 Hz range, because if you boost it and you'll hear it's got like a nice frequency to it. And then this layered with the M1 piano will sound like this. So it fills it up so much more. The M1 piano is quite mono and quite in the center. The Keyzone Classic piano makes it sound much more full. If I show that again, if I just mute the clap, just so you can hear the piano on its own. And again, we're going to do the same thing. So I'm just going to bring these things down here. We're going to create a new pattern and call these wide rhythm chords. Again, I'm just going to copy and paste the MIDI and then we're going to go from there. So just got all these wide rhythm chords, add these in here, copy and paste this MIDI, Control C to copy, go to your new pattern, Control V to paste on the new one, and that sounds like this. So we're getting there. Now I'm going to add a snare for this build up. The build up comes on these last 4 bars here. Make a new pattern. Usually I do my drums, and you've seen in my previous tutorials, I add my drums on the playlist. With snare rolls, I usually like doing it in a pattern. I have more controllability, like I have more control of what I want. I'm going to call these snares, add them in here. We're going to bring the drums down just a little bit. Bring the effects down a bit more. I think the snare I tried before was this one, but I might layer it with more of like a trappy, snappy snare, like that. Again, like I said in the first tutorial, as much as my recreation might not be as spot on, I'm adding some small nuances, very small elements of my own, just a bit more different. As much as it's a recreation of the actual main track, I just want to add some small nuances and just some small details to make it a little different from the original. Yeah, we'll go with this snare for the main snare, and then we'll add some sort of snappy snare, like I said, like that, something similar to that. So that's the rhythm for the snare. That does that for 2 bars, and then it goes into the standard 2-step, and then it goes to a more faster pace. And then this goes like this. If we shorten these notes, shorten these a bit, and then offset these 2 by 2 or 3 to the right. And then what we need to do is right click and turn off cut itself, make sure it's ticked. Then the sample won't overlap when it starts to speed up. That's the worst thing. You don't want your snares to overlap, because that will cancel when the new one plays. And there's also a filter, I believe, like some sort of low pass filter where it's taking out the low frequencies just to build tension in the build up. We also need to make this a bit more snappy, so we're going to compress it a bit. Trying to find the glue compressor. There it is right there. That'll do. So let's see what it sounds like with the song. So again, we're going to just layer this section here. We're going to add an EQ. So we're going to create a bus here. So we're just going to move this to the right. I'm going to right click, create group, and call this snare group, just because we're going to link the other snare to this snare as well. Just so we only have to use one filter automation here to take out the low end. If we just solo the snares here and bring this up to the last section here like this. Now, of course, dummy move, I didn't link the channel to the things. Now if we right click and click route to this track only, we'll now see the results. So that could work. Let's just make that 100% like that, bring this down. And now if we find a more snappy snare, let's look in my first pack, see what snares we have in here. That one could work, so let's try and layer that one in with this one. We add that in here, and then link it to that channel group I just made, just so we don't forget to do that. So I think I'm going to add some small delay on this one. This is going to be a 2-step delay, so like that, make it ping pong. I'm going to copy the exact same pattern of this snare, but because of the delay in ping pong, it's going to give it a nice effect. And also we're going to highlight this section again, and we're going to create an automation clip for the volume for this group. I'm just going to add a fruity balance, so we can make an automation clip for the volume. And then we're going to turn it down on this last section here, not too much, just a little bit. So we're currently on 80%, so if we do a 20% cut like that. Perfect. So that's the snares done for now. We might come back to them and change them, but for now I'm quite happy with them. I was tempted to add like this thing here, but again I want to make it close to the original, but some small changes of my own. So we'll leave it for now. If we feel like adding that in, we will add that in, but for now we'll leave it there. Let's go on to some sweeps and effects. Let's go on to down sweeps. Oh, sweep, sorry, see what we have here. We'll probably use this one. I use this one quite a bit in my own productions. It's a very nice sweep. It has a nice reverb tail, so the transition of the sweep is very nice. And it's also just a very nice sweep in general. So we turn the in knob up, so it fades in a little better. And then obviously we just need to turn it down a bit. So I think I'm going to add in a few more effects and sweeps, and then I might do the similar thing to what I've done with the snares to the piano here, take some of the low end out, just to create more tension, make the drop hit harder. It's a nice technique you can do, just take the low end out of all your sounds. When the drop hits, it will hit harder. So let's add a few more effects in here, let's see what sweeps we got. We'll probably add this one, it has a nice effect to it, a nice tonality, so we can add this one in here. I think I might add a small little effect here. I'm going to copy and paste this crash. So we're going to bring these rails crashes down. We're going to add this crash here, so once the snares come in, it will hit harder again. And then yeah, let's just add this sweep in as well. It's going to be quite loud, so we've got to turn this down. Perfect. So yeah, like I said before, I'm going to create a group the same as these. I'm going to bring these both to the right. Right click, create group, call this piano group. I can spell. There we go. Piano group. And then we're going to link both of these to this channel, and we're going to do the exact same thing as the snare. So we're going to add a fab filter simplon, turn this to 24, make an automation clip of this one here, and we're going to filter out the low frequencies just towards the end, so probably the last 2 bars. And bring this up like that. If we just solo the pianos, just so we can hear the detail we're doing. There we go. So now, overall, what we've got so far, I think for now we can move on to the drops, adding the kick and then the FM bass, but for now this is what we have. So you see what I've added here? I've added Endless Smile just to do some nice reverb technique here. It's a nice thing to do. I'm going to do it make it very subtle, so it's not too aggressive, but it adds some sort of tension and to the build up. That'll do. So I think for now we could probably add the kick drum. The kick drum, I'm just going to use a basic one for now, and then we're going to change it out just so we can keep the tutorial moving. We don't want it to drag too much. Let's bring these effects down a bit more, and let's just. I think we're going to use this one here, kick 10. I'm just going to loop this one for now, and then we might change it out. We'll probably change it out to more of a similar kick to the original. We're going to paste this for 8 bars, just make this the same green, and then add it into the mixer. Just all of these as well. My OCD is kicking in as usual, so we're going to add this in right here. Turn it down. I'm pretty sure the kick in the actual original from PS1, it doesn't have much high frequency, so there's no point usually boosting the high like I normally do. There's no point doing that. So if anything, we'll probably leave it the same and keep it as that. If anything, we'll probably dip it, but for now we'll leave it the same. The only thing we will do is just boost the low end just a tiny bit by like 1.5 dB, just give it a bit more punch, and then we'll leave it there for now. And yeah, so we'll leave that there. We've got the crash there. We could have like a small sweep, like a down sweep, but like I said in the original there isn't one, so we'll leave it there for now. And I think we'll just start working on the FM bass. So we'll call this FM bass drop, and we'll layer this in. So yeah, let's work on the FM bass drop melody. So for the bass drop melody, I'm pretty much doing the same thing as the kick. I'm just using a substitute FM bass for now, and I'll possibly switch it out later to make it sound more like the original. I'm just going to go into my Deep House Essentials Volume 2. I have 6 FM bass shots here. So we just use this one for example. They're all in the key of C, so you don't have to worry about it. We just figure out the bass line here, and then we can maybe switch it out, start layering it up, and then see if we can go from there. So I'm pretty sure it starts on F. What we need to do is turn off the loop points and then make sure it's on cut itself. And then make sure we turn up the hold knob, turn down the attack, decay, sustain, make sure the release is up a tiny bit, and then we can make a melody. I'm pretty sure that is a melody. Let's try and switch it out for another one here. Let's try this one. I think for this I'm going to use my preset pack, but obviously for now I'm just getting the melody down. So let's see what it sounds like with the track. Bearing in mind there's no side chaining going on, so it sounds awful, but that is the melody, so we can leave that there. I think for now I'm going to continue working on the drums. I'm going to add in the clap, stuff like that. The claps and the hi-hats don't really need to be actual spot-on specific because they all do the same job. It's mainly the kick drum and the FM bass that we need to get quite close. Obviously the vocal we don't have. Let's add the clap in here. It's the same clap, so we'll just add that in on the second half here. And I'm pretty sure in the second half the piano comes in and some hi-hats and some open hats and grooves and yeah, top loops, stuff like that too, just to give it a bit more rhythm. Right, so I think I'm going to layer an extra clap just in the drop. So I'm pretty sure so we'll do that, and then I'm pretty sure the clap stays here, and then in this section some hi-hats and top loops going. But for this actual section here, I'm going to add an extra clap. More of a traditional deep house clap. Something like that, just a bit more snappy, just to give it a bit more body. So if we mute this. And then, yeah, so we're going to add in some hi-hats now. So if we go to hi-hats, open hats. I'm going to use this one, turn down the out knob just to make it a bit more snappy. We could add in a top loop as well. Let's see what this is on. Energy loop noise. I use this one quite a bit if there's if the track sounded a bit empty and it needs some just some energy, what I call it energy top noise, stuff like that. So we just see what this sounds like. So yeah, it fills it out so much more. It's what I use quite a bit. It just fills the track out so much more. You don't really hear it, but you can definitely feel it. I'm going to my Deep House Essentials Volume 1 because there's a top loop that I really like. There's a snare, an offbeat snare I want to chop out. That one right there, so you can hear the snare. So this snare right here, I'm going to chop out and use it as a perk or like an offbeat snare for myself. So it's a nice thing to do. You can just chop off some certain things from certain top loops, and you can use it in recreate your own stuff from it. Yeah, so we make all these green, stick to the theme of green drums here, cue on my OCD, and then we'll add all these 3 into the mixer because we haven't done that yet. So we highlight all 3 of them so they're green, go into the mixer, right click, channel routing, route selected channel starting from this track, and we can get all these volumes going good. So if we just mute these 2. So now if we add this FM bass on, again there's no side chains, it's going to sound completely horrible, so yeah, let's see what we've got. So we're slowly getting there. It still sounds very basic just because in this section there's an M1 house piano. It's pretty much these chords that get added, but obviously this FM bass drop isn't the same as these chords. We need to recreate a similar vibe of this, but with this FM bass drop here. So we'll do that next episode. For now, I just want to, that's the main thing I want to do, is get the drums down, get the FM bass down, and then so next episode we'll start to work on the FM bass drop completely, start working on the actual layering up of it, adding the sub bass, stuff like that. So so overall, so far, this is what we have so far. I'm just going to add another snare or another crash here, and add this reverse crash. And I think the only thing I want to do is do this here and then chop off this section, just so it leads in like this. The vocal on the track carries the track. If like I said in the previous episode, listen to the track, you'll hear what I mean. But yeah, I think I'm going to play through what I have, and then we'll end the video. So I hope you enjoy it, and then let's go. So that is what we have. It's sounding pretty good so far. It's going to sound a lot better in the next episode once we add the piano and start working on the actual FM bass and focusing on that. But that is what we've got so far. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, helps the channel grow and I really appreciate it. I've got a new video coming this week again. It's a W&W from start to finish episode. I haven't done one of them in a while. So yeah, stay tuned for that. It's going to be a good one. So I hope you're all doing well. Stay safe, produce music, and I'll speak to you all very, very soon.